All right, we'll get started with the opening comment from Coach and then open up for questions.
Well, exhibition game 2, of course, is an opportunity to get some guys playing someone other than ourselves. We've really been getting after it in practice, so it'll be good to see us have another little test against someone other than ourselves. And Missouri Western, a team I think I played when I was at Missouri. But this is not necessarily about Missouri Western, it's about us and seeing if we can somehow control some tempo. I didn't like the tempo the other night. I thought we only shot the ball 56 times, and we normally can shoot 56 times in one half. So I just didn't think we made the game a fast game. And I talked about this team being hopefully playing a lot faster, running, executing, but making it more about more possessions than a half-court game. And so give Central Oklahoma credit for they did a good job of controlling tempo at times, but I thought we did a lot of things that kind of disrupted the flow for ourselves, whether it be making free throws, getting to the free throw line, making free throws, or being real careless with the basketball. So those are some things that we've talked about. Rebound the basketball, getting the ball down the floor, getting people running the floor, sharper passes, crisper passes, much better in our motion offense. So those are the things that we've been working on. And defensively, again, hopefully dominating the boards. And we saw some glimpses of it, but we just got to continue to get in game shape. I think that's the biggest key to me. As the game went up and down and we were very active, I thought you saw us have some tremendous spurts, and I thought our defense was okay. But then you could see guys started taking plays off because they were pacing themselves, and that's a no-no for us. We don't pace ourselves. We're going to go out and play the hardest 5 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it is, go out and play efficient basketball. So that's what I'm looking for in this game. We'll add another guy with Darius Hall, who didn't play in that game. Now it gives us another person that we've got to get ready and try to formulate who's going to be that core group that's going to play.
You guys want to raise your hand? We'll get them up to you. So right here,
Mike, the tempo issues, how much do you think had to do with you? I think you guys only had 8 scholarship players, and is there any? I know Cook had been cleared for regular season games. Is there any chance Cook plays or?
No, the status of those guys that hadn't played is still the same. For Cook, Dustin, they're still the same. So, and Khalil. So it'll be. We had 8 scholarship players. We have 9 this time. So, and we'll do it with 9. So, but in one sense, you can sense that we're shorthanded. But at the end of the day, there are going to be games where that's going to take place, and guys got to be able to go out and still continue to play at a high level. But this is the process. That's what these games are for, and you see me throwing out different combinations, just trying to get a feel for how these guys will react when they get out there. So, but the key is now you're still trying to figure out the guys what they bring to the table. Guys start understanding their roles and being effective out there defensively as well as offensively.
And then the AP poll came out today, and I guess Kentucky, Florida, Minnesota, and Texas A&M are all in it. UNC, North Carolina's in it, who you might play. Alabama was just the first team not to be in the poll. So what do you think about you got a lot of ranked teams on your schedule?
I appreciate the update, Bob. But, that's somebody's, early on it's an opinion, based on what teams have coming back. And all that will be settled in whether it be a non-conference and conference schedule. You want to be there when it's all said and done. Last year we were one of 32 teams playing, and we want to be, as that number kind of dwindles down, we want to continue to be one of those teams that are still playing. That's how I answer that. So I don't worry about polls and all that. It's at the end when they really, really matter. And so we want to be in the hunt big time, and I really feel, with this group of guys, the potential is there. So we've got to do our work, and part of that is planning these exhibition games, then getting into the non-conference schedule, which is not far at all. It's a week from Friday, It's a week from this exhibition game, so we jump right into it, and we'll continue to find out what type of team we're going to be.
Last week you said that you liked the fact that you got some feedback from Central Oklahoma. How the guys responded to that feedback in practice?
Well, it's one that we've got to turn our attention to being I think we've got to be one of the most tenacious defensive teams, hopefully that we've had here. And as we get more bodies and more people ready to play, I think that's going to make a big difference. I mean, we can, I think the versatility, we can do a lot of switching. I thought we can be athletic, where guys can make plays. So the message being that obviously we want to play at a tempo that's suitable for us and make people uncomfortable. So I think it's getting these guys to understand that, you know, it's got to be as a whole. It can't just be one guy or two guys, because if you got one or two guys taking off, then it affects the whole. And that's what even as we got a chance to watch some tape, they got a chance to see where, you know, they take plays off, and you can't take plays off.
When you went back and looked at the tape, how did you feel like Gafford did as far as rotations and being where he's supposed to be on defense?
I thought that Daniel was very active. I thought when he was out there, I think a lot of good things happened. So you'll see him out there even more minutes at this particular game, because he rebounds above the rim. He's making them change shots. He's a guy that's running on a dead sprint down the floor. You know, there are a couple of times he probably was out of place, but the only way he's going to learn how to rotate in game setting is to be out there. So for a guy to play 15 minutes, I think he ended up with like 8 and 7. Changed a lot of shots. I think that shows you there's a lot of promise there with him.
Mike, a follow-up on the poll. I know it's your favorite topic, but does that speak to the strength of your schedule? I mean, and also, Gabe only played a minute the other night, if I read the box score right. Do you anticipate him playing more?
Yeah, Gabe will play more. I think he's, I think he's probably a little bit more healthier than he was early on, and I think he's a lot more ready to play. So we'll get him out there. In terms of, you said something about the polls, the strength of our schedule.
Yeah, I mean, that just indicates what a good schedule you got. All these ranked
Yeah,
teams.
yeah. I mean, we're going to be playing some play. Well, that schedule is put together on purpose to find out where we are and who we are and where we're going to end up being. So I think it's a challenging, but I think it's one our guys look forward to, especially when you got 6 seniors on your team, and you got a pretty good class coming in here, and you got some holdovers that are now they're being put in, in different roles. Let's say a guy like Adriel, he started out the other night, and I thought he was nervous. In the second half, I thought we saw the old Adriel get after it. We're seeing a different version of C.J. Jones, a guy that can, we know he can get some buckets, he can do that, but now he's doing all the other little things. So as we put this team together, it ain't where it's going to be at right now. That's what you got to, even as a coach, I have to pull back. This is a different team from last year. Even though we bring all those guys back, it's still a different team. And when you're trying to implement these other guys to be a part of it, because, again, a guy like Daniel is going to be an impact player. Adriel's more minutes. CJ possibly more minutes. And who else is going to be a guy that we're going to have to count on. But we're going to have to count on all those guys. And this team will continue to get better. And the schedule really calls for us to get better early because, again, we got some tremendous games starting off with the first game of the season.
And you're 31-0 in exhibitions, I guess, going back to the UAB days, and I assume you probably expect to win those games, but teams don't always win their exhibition games because they're playing different guys and doing different things. I mean, what do you think about being 31-0?
Well,
what's been the key to that?
I guess the only thing I'm always going to try to get a lot of guys playing time so we can get a chance to see them under the fire. But I think you always play to win. That's a mindset, and we do that each and every practice. You're going to play to win. So no matter who's out there, they got to play to win.
You mentioned CJ a second ago. What does his role need to be on this team for you guys to be as successful as you want to be?
Well, I think CJ sat there and watched a guy like Dusty Hannahs, a guy that he averaged 16 points, 4s, 15, whatever it was. And he was a guy that people obviously chased off the three-point line because he could shoot the ball. Although Dustin did a great job of really putting the ball on the floor, absorbing contacts. A lot of N1s. If you look back on his career, he had a lot of N1s here. But he's a guy that's going to be able to space the floor. I think he could be a tremendous rebounder, whether it be on the defensive side of the ball or offensive side of the ball. So I think defensively, I think he's got to continue to get better. But I think he got to use his, God is getting him with some athletic ability, man. I mean, he could be great with the mid-range, coming off screens, pulling up. But a guy that I think can put the ball in the hole. So it's his. To me, all his games is right there in front of him. He just got to go out and play and get some confidence in playing at this level.
You see that being part of his game that can grow, like putting it on the floor, being able to use his athleticism and maybe more at the rim than
I think eventually. Right now, because that's what, when I look at him, even in practice, guys are crowding him now because they know his range is pretty deep out there. They're making him put it on the floor. So the competition in practice is making him a better player, and so hopefully that's preparing him for games.
Coach, for Macon and Barford, your leaders, really, what's one thing you're looking for them to improve upon early in the season?
I'm looking for them to be more consistent. Although last year they were, like typical guys, new guys coming in, trying to figure out their roles, and but to accept their roles early on, and knowing that they're going to be the guys that the other guys are looking up to in terms of leadership. And so we're looking for those guys. Obviously they can bring score, and I want to see them be more well-rounded players. That means defensively, spearhead our defense. They got quickness, they got toughness, they got athletic ability, they got pretty good basketball IQ. But I don't want them to be taking plays off. I think sometimes especially when you're coming back, you're a senior, you think it's old to you. Even right now, I don't have no starters. So to me, I want to keep these guys working, and not thinking that it's entitled to them where they're going to be starting. No, that's not the case. So, but I just think with their play, based on what they've done in the past, and hopefully what they're going to do in the future, that they can be examples in terms of leadership by how they go out and play and compete and be a common force. I think Barford can be a guy that can be a common force with our basketball team. So I want to see those guys utilize that experience to make this team even better.
Anything else? One more right here.
You said Darius would be available Friday. When did he get back to practice, and how has he looked since coming back?
Well, he came back Sunday. We shot around. He came back. He did some shooting around. Then on Monday, he actually went into full-tilt practice. We were off yesterday, and so today he'll come back and be in the whole practice. So, but he's fired up about getting out there on the floor, and we are too. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing him out there in action because he's really been having some really good practices, especially before he and Daniel bump heads. But he has really had some good workouts, and I want to see him have some carryover into a game setting.